Why do so many strategic plans completely fail to materialize? Well, one very important reason is that they describe the plan and the resources in nearly infinite detail, but they categorically fail to address the whole set of issues that exist below the waterline. And as we've seen in the opening videos of this series, that opens the door for our collective survival brain to go into hyperactive. In this video, you'll discover an incredibly powerful strategy for getting below the waterline and keeping the limbic brain at bay. Every organization in or around predictable success has some form of strategic planning. It may be formal or informal. It may be highly structured or free-form. And while there are benefits and disadvantages to each of these, we need to be careful to not assume that the right strategic planning methodology will suddenly silence our limbic antagonist. In fact, when it comes to strategic analysis and planning, what you put in is what you get out. If you allow your collective limbic brain to hijack the process, your entire strategic planning process will be based on surviving and not thriving. This is surprisingly difficult to catch because it's happening subconsciously. We may use language like innovation and risk, but to make it even less clear, we may even take unwise and unnecessary risks so that we can keep our limbic brain happy. So if they look similar and sound similar, how do we discern limbic strategy versus prefrontal strategy? Well, here are a few tells that the limbic brain is having its way. Reactivity is one of the most important signs. If your strategic planning is done primarily as a response to some external threat, you can all but guarantee your limbic strategy mode is taking root. Now, you want to get ahead of this by engaging in strategic analysis before you begin your strategic planning and decision making. You can function reactively even in a structured program. Now, this happens when recent events carry more weight than past events simply because of their proximity. If you find yourself at an annual planning session talking about the events of the last 2 weeks, or if we're honest, 2 hours, that is a warning sign that you'll want to heed. Now, the second sign is anxiety. Both optimists and realists experience anxiety, so don't mistake optimism for a lack of anxiety or realism for the presence of anxiety. Instead, each team member should examine their own motives before engaging in strategic planning. Are you worried about imminent failure? Well, great. Raise up a flag so that we can work on the challenge, but make sure you separate the fear from the actual analysis and planning. The third sign the limbic brain is having its way is that you're stuck overvaluing past strategies. In How the Mighty Fall, Jim Collins says when the rhetoric of success, like we're successful because we do these things, replaces the understanding and insight, like we're successful because we understand why we do these specific things and under what conditions they would no longer work, then decline will very likely follow. Now, just because something worked in the past doesn't mean it's right for the future or even the present, but it does mean that we are more likely to cling to it simply because it feels safe. That is the essence of limbic strategy. So set a time aside to not only list what you did, but examine why it worked and under what conditions it would no longer work. Our favorite tools for this process are the pestle analysis and the SWOT analysis. Well, so far, it's likely been a great reminder, but maybe not earth-shaking. We're going to ramp things up when we identify the item that the vast majority of strategic plans fatally lack, and I'll show you what it is in the next video.